Hello, everyone, and welcome to RLA Win Time week February 18th through February 21st. This win time will start on a Tuesday. Forgive me if I sound hoarse. I'm just getting over being under the weather. So I'll walk you through this, and I'll try to send out the video on Friday so you'll have time enough to view it, just to give you an overview on how instruction should sound or be administered. Okay. Alrighty. This week we're going to be reading about Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was I don't need to tell you what he was, but you'll read it. The first slide that comes up is an introduction to the text. And I start off by giving you kind of what to say to the students and then giving you the information or instructions on how this will go. It should take 10 minutes, no longer than 10 minutes, for kids to unwrap and annotate. You will model. So it'll look like you'll ask kids the reading. What is the genre? You say, well, what evidence that you have to support that this is whatever genre they said it was? After kids answer, just quickly move on. Let them know they'll be annotating. Tell them they have 1.5 minutes to annotate each paragraph, but you're going to model as the teacher. So you'll model the first paragraph. You'll model your annotations, and then you'll give them 1.5 minutes to copy your annotations. You'll see as I flip through that I already have annotations on the side that you can use, or you can use your own annotations as you model. I just didn't want anything to be left open for question. These annotations, we usually tell students to pick out the most important words that will help them understand what the reading is about. Even if I didn't read the reading or someone else didn't read it, they can pick up their paper and understand the main idea and the key ideas of what the reading is about or who the reading is about. So back to the annotations, the teacher will annotate first. Students will copy 1.5 minutes. Then the students will get 1.5 minutes to annotate the second paragraph. Then the teacher will annotate the third paragraph. Students to get 1.5 minutes to copy annotations. Then the students will annotate independently the fourth paragraph. And then lastly, the fifth paragraph, teachers and students will annotate together. And I put right there, if you press enter, this box will disappear. And there you are. Alrighty. So once you give students a chance, you can annotate. If you want to annotate, you can. But I have here where I have already annotated. Again, once you push it, the 10 minutes will start automatically. We're going to underline our title. Informational text. Paragraph 1. I annotated astrophysicist, scientist who studies space, science communicator. Those are my words for paragraph 1. Why did not annotate his name? Because his name is in the title. And I always like to relate what that means. Reaching for the stars, where he's an astrophysicist. Reaching for the stars might be figurative language for him studying outer space. So those are some talking points you might want to go over with the students. Always relate what your annotations are back to the title and the informational text. It's giving us information about Neil Tyson. Okay, give students 1.5 minutes to annotate 2. Then you'll come back and annotate 3. However, I did put annotations for each paragraph, but you only be annotating 1 and 3, and then y'all will do 5 together. Alrighty, going to the next slide. We're going to answer questions from our annotations and from the paragraph. Which sentence below best states the central idea of this article? Alrighty. Students, you will walk students through it. They will mark their justifications. I put some on the side so that you can see what some justifications look like. So A, Neil deGrasse Tyson is a famous astrophysicist who makes science interesting for everyone. Well, that tells me who and what this was about. That sounds like it could be the main idea, but let me go to B because I'm not sure. It might be a better answer. The universe is a vast and mysterious place. Well, I know the title has Neil Tyson in it, and that doesn't mention anything about him. So, and doesn't mention anything about the star. So, I don't think that is what it is. I know that's just a detail from the story. Then C, it is important to study the stars and planets. Well, I know Neil felt like that from the story, but that is not a fact. That's just an opinion from the story, which was another detail. And D, Neil deGrasse Tyson grew up in New York City. Well, it tells me who it's about, but it doesn't say what it's about. He grew up in New York City wasn't what the whole selection was about. So I think A is my best choice because it tells me who the selection was about and what it was about. It tells me, so I think A is my best answer. So you want to do this after you've given students a chance to work through it. Then you can work through it and show them what answer you got. And just ask them did they get the right answer and y'all can speak briefly about it. We're going to do the same for the next question and the next question. Well, this question here, it has 2 correct answers. The multi-select is a big issue for students, so make sure you tell them they need to pick the best 2 answers, and they will do their rationales and their justifications just the same. Make sure they are reading the question. What are the most likely reasons the author included the first paragraph in the article? Of course, they're going to go to the first paragraph. They're going to read A, and then ask themselves, does that make sense? Would that be the most important reason or most likely reason the author included that to paragraph? It includes paragraph 1 in the article. So they will go through each one of them and pick the best 2 correct answers. Always going back to the question. Always going back to the question. And again, you want to do this after they've had a chance to interact and talk through the text. You can talk through it with them, but you want to make sure that they understand what they're doing, now they're doing it, and give them a chance to work through it so that you can disperse the misconceptions when you come back and work through it. And that will be all. Here's Wednesday. Wednesday, we're doing the same thing. We're asking, we're still doing informational text, and we are doing text evidence. So it's asking which sentences show an idea. So we have to find the text evidence. Again, allow students to work through it, doing their rationales and justifications. You will come back and the answers are there, but make sure you work through it with them. The slides that are hidden that came before this gives you the justifications and the answers so that you can be able to work through with students and understand what they should have understood when they were working through it. So make sure you look at the slides that are hidden right before this. They won't show up in the slideshow, but they're there for you to see and use so that you can explain to the students clear. Again, we allow students to work through best possible answer, do their rationales and justifications. You come back and answer. Same. And this one is for students to pick text evidence and author's purpose. And we're on Thursday. Thursday, we're going to use this text, but we're going to look for what are 2 reasons that make Neil a great science communicator. So you want to ask kids, What does communicator mean? What does great mean, or excellent science communicator? What makes him give some synonyms for great and synonyms science communicator. So what makes him great? So look back into the story and give 2 reasons that makes him great. Now I'm going to post 3 reasons, and they can be in the same ballpark as the kids or not, but these are reasons why. And the first 3 can be the first reason, just worded different ways, and then the second 2 can be the second reason, just worded different ways. Again, the first 3 are just one reason. It's just that they're worded different ways. The second 2 is just another reason, but they're just worded different ways. Students can be in the ballpark of any one of these. Then they're going to highlight the evidence in the article that supports their reasons or their thesis. Their reason 1 was mine. He explains difficult or hard things about science in a way it is easy for people to understand. I need to change that. In a way, I'll change that before we get to it. In a way that is easy for people to understand. So I will come back and I will look. Where's my text evidence? Okay, in paragraph 1, here's text evidence that supports that. Paragraph 2, he inspires people to be curious about science or space. All right, my text evidence to support that reason is here. Now that I highlighted my text evidence, I was done for Thursday. Friday, and we can go on if you have time. You can go to Friday. We're going to restate the prompt and use 2 reasons. Remember the 2 reasons from the day before, and we're going to write it in a complete sentence. And what that looks like is this. Talk to students about compound sentences, talk about connecting students with fanboys. This is a good time to bring that grammar in. Neil Tyson became an exceptional science communicator because he explained difficult or hard things about science in a way that it was easy for people to understand and inspired people to be curious about space. And I'm going to change that to that instead of it. Neil Tyson became an exceptional science communicator because he explained difficult, hard things about science in a way that is easy for people to understand and inspire people to be curious about space. So now I'm going to add my text evidence to what I already have on my thesis. There's one of my text evidence. Well, that's both of them. So the text says, he's also a science communicator, which means he's really good at explaining complicated things about space in a way that everyone can understand. The text also says he encourages kids to ask questions and explore. He wants everyone to understand the wonders of the universe just like he does. So that's both pieces of my text evidence. Last, we're going to add our conclusion by restating our thesis in a different way. And at this point, you want to ask kids to use those words like that they synonyms for the word great, and just in a way that they can restate it, saying the same thing, but in a different way. My conclusion is Neil Tyson became a great science communicator because he made tricky science ideas easy to understand and encouraged people to be curious about space. Said the same thing in a different way. And that is the end. My goal is to get students to think about how they're putting these different parts of an ECR together and why they relate to each other. Okay? If you notice, there is no explanations in here. I want them to just concentrate on getting those text evidence there and getting the conclusion there. In class, we're going to have teachers maybe go back and ask kids to explain how their text evidence supports their thesis. Or If we have time, maybe we can do that. I don't think we'll have time, but this is the end of our win for this week. Thank you.